I appreciate all my subscribers, and there's a lot of you guys that haven't subscribed. And I mean, so far, and it's been months, well over 6 months now that I've started this channel, and I appreciate every single one of your 10,319 subscribers. Thank you. I also want to say that you guys, I never asked for one nickel. I try not to do that yet. So pretty much I've been trying to just make my channel grow and promote this channel, and it's doing pretty good. I'm very happy with it. I wish I knew how to do this live thing because I like to talk about geopolitical stuff, but I want to know what other people want to do. Historical context. We could do latest science breakthroughs. You could ask me questions. See if I can figure out how to get a comment stream going here. But yeah, so let's talk about, I guess, let me think, geopolitical stuff. So, okay, let's talk about what happened in Qatar. But before that, Israel is on the war rampage right now. I mean, they have taken out complete governments. You don't think so? Okay. Well, let's go back to the Iran, 11 or 12-day war of Iran. They killed 20 generals with one missile. Okay. They just killed the prime minister and his entire cabinet, except for four officials that escaped or made it out of there alive. But that was wiped out. Okay. Now, recently the Hamas would be the third one. Well, I guess you could go back to the pager incident where there was about 1,000 pagers that had explosives, plastique in them, and they waited for the right time and killed, hundreds of Hezbollah. So you got that. Then you got the Qatar thing that just happened. They killed the top echelon Hamas because they've been cowards, stealing the Palestinians' aid money and becoming billionaires, just taking their family to Qatar, and they deserve to die. What happened was just, in my view. So you have Hamas as top echelon. You had the Houthis wiped out completely, except for four members of cabinet, and then you have the Iranian 20 generals. Plus, if you go back a little bit further, a couple of years ago, their top nuclear scientist had been shot while his wife was in the car with four other bodyguard cars, and the AI was so good, it took the picture of the individual in the front seat of the car driving, or was he not driving? It doesn't matter. It was just him and his wife. And it was so a truck backs up by itself, automated, blocks the road. The truck opens up. A machine gun is there with just the machine gun and a camera. And the camera focuses in on the vehicles, finds the facial recognition of this nuclear scientist, and the machine gun goes off, killing only him. Only him. That's how good it was. And it was able to do it very quickly. And then what happened? The whole entire thing explodes. The truck and the weapon system, the AI, and all the intellectual property content, defense weaponry. So what we got going on there is Israel's been in a situation where they've had to fight terrorism since they've enacted, their country has been a country in Israel. So they've learned along the way, you know what I mean? They've had to chase down Nazi criminals. They were successful in doing that. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Munich, but getting back at the terrorists that killed their Olympic athletes. October of 19. The heck was that? Oh, sorry. Yeah. So Israel and the Mossad and the Shin Bet and the IAF and the IDF and the Defense Cabinet, the War Room, they're very good. Shin Bet is like the FBI. They do domestic stuff, but it's so much more important because you've got terrorism. And I just want to say, Charlie Kirk, he was a patriot and a wonderful man, and he was misunderstood by the left, and he was adored and loved by the right. And I just want to say that I'm going to miss him personally because he also he was a lover of Israel. He was a religious man. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but his kids and and their mother is without a father, and I'm super saddened by that because, um, like I said, he was taken out of context a lot. Did he say one or two things that were very divisive? Yeah, and he can walk. He probably walk them back. I've listened to now. It's sad because it was independent media taking money from nothing. So therefore, like I couldn't say that for sure, but they did take money from advertising. Anyway, let's get back to a topic that you guys want to hear. I wish. Oh, here's the comments. Oh, beautiful. Okay, all right, here we go, guys. What do you guys want to talk about? Do you want to talk about, continue to talk about this? Or do you want to talk about, do you want to talk about domestic stuff going on here in the U.S.? Do you want to talk about history? Do you want to talk about recent science breakthroughs, the JWST hinting at life in the atmospheres? Come on, guys, fire away. What do you got? What do we got? What do you guys want? Hey, HDN, Runa, MGG, Assad. Hello, bastard. Have you been Smokey the Jokey? You eyes red. My eyes aren't red. They're whiter than those are. Those are red, bro. Come on, dude. I don't do drugs. And not anymore, anyway. I used to. But I've all I do is study. That's it. I saved money. I got savings. I'm 45 years old. I mean, I don't look it. So I'm almost in early retirement. So what I've done is, look, I got the time to research, and most people in this country are not, in that position to study, to research on multiple different sources to make sure you're getting the proper facts and content that's appropriate for your viewers. And yeah, so you can't watch the mainstream media, especially in a country like the United States where you're going to get both sides completely different opinions, and they're not facts. And CNN and both Fox are both guilty of those. Have you been drinky the pinky? What the hell does that even mean? Okay. What's your position on 9/11, the Muslims doing 9/11? My position is, they were lucky to hit us in America because we immigrate. Our immigrants are mainly from Latin America and the Caribbean, but we do have taken in some Afghanistans. I lived with 4 Afghanis that worked for the U.S. government during the war. After we pulled out, they ended up in America, where they were housed for 3 or so years in a hotel. Texas ended up moving out to where I live up north here in New England. And I was homeless actually at the time, which was crazy because I had a couple $100,000, but it was like in the process of. Anyway, that's besides the point. They were nice enough to let me live with them, and I was a Jew, and I'm a Jew, and they were Muslim from Afghanistan. They prayed. I went to a mosque with them. Went to some of their community centers. I think the Muslim people are caring people. I think that there's one place on earth that they get along greatly, and it's obviously one of them would be the United States, but the other one, it's called Israel. 20% of the 15 million people that live in Israel, so that's like a couple million Muslims, and they're not second-class citizens. It's not an apartheid state inside Israel. Why? Because, well, how do you become a Muslim judge? There's no DEI. You earn it. They've earned it in Israel. In America, a lot of these DEI hires are not appropriate, especially for places like the airline industry, like air traffic controllers. That's why there's been a lot of crashes. They think that the ability of the air traffic control have been standards have been lowered through the previous administration, and that was the worry that we got from these unqualified. And it's not fair, right? It's not fair. Every race committed slavery at every time period throughout history. But what's different about an American, okay, who was the first country? It was Haiti. Haiti was the very first country to abolish slavery. It scared the Americans. This is right when they got their 1803, January 1st, 1803. So is basically their 4th of July. It was during the Napoleonic Wars. Napoleon was very heavily bogged down with his wars in Europe. He could only send a ship or two, and they were massacred, obviously. England tried to get in on it, but got the same result. And if you can get this, if you can understand this as complete tragedy, they're the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, and it's out of control. Recently, 1,000 troops were sent from Kenya to try to quell Port-au-Prince, which is the capital. Port-au-Prince was hit in 2010 by a really bad earthquake. But why are they poorest? Why are they so poor? Why are they the poorest in the Western Hemisphere? Well, it has everything to do. They were the richest colony on the planet for a long time because of cash crops like tobacco, like cotton, and they had slaves imported from Africa, sugarcane, coffee, and other fruits. But these were huge, big business crops. They were called cash crops because obviously the labor was almost free. So the French had the most profitable colony. Now, what happened was, after that, the Americans, the French, and some of the allies got together and said, look, America's afraid of this happening, a revolt like that happening amongst slaves in America. And anyway, somehow, some way, they had to pay France reparations when it should have been the other way around to keep what they had fought for. And for up until the 1990, so 1803 to 1990, they paid reparations to the French. And at some place, it was half their GDP of their entire gross domestic product. Okay. Now, I'd rather go by, like nowadays, there's PPP, which is purchasing power parity, which gives you a way better understanding of countries, like, power of purchasing and such. What I'm trying to get at is, like, there's a famous saying, your GDP might be $100 billion a year, right? Or 1 trillion. We'll say it's $1 trillion annually. The GDP of Matthew Island, let's say. And then I build a bridge that cost me $1,000 billion, which is $1 trillion. So now I have a $2 trillion GDP. But that bridge, how is it worth $1 trillion? Well, because I made it, and then I destroyed it, then I made it again and destroyed it, and I made it again and destroyed it, all in 1 year. So now you have just added $1 trillion onto your GDP, but is that earnings? No. See, so those things, infrastructure, investment is added to your gross domestic product. So that does not accurately depict what I'm trying to get at here is there's other ways of other indicators that will show you better statistics, and you'll get better results from the statistics. I do day trading, and there's I was going to start a channel on that because I've been very successful at that as well. One of my mutual funds, actually. Anyway, I don't want to get into some of my personal stuff. What do you guys want to? Oh, I say all Muslims must go. Go where? From where, guy? That's Bear, Abalu Bear. I think that a lot of them should have to go from. If you can't vet them, and any illegal should have to go. The good thing about America is that we have Latin American immigration mainly, but the problem is like Spain is so close and Italy is so close to Africa. England, France, all these countries took in, oh Jesus, Germany took in so many that it's a fifth of the population of some other countries like England, and so you must pander to this from the river to the sea shit, and it's like because they're in parliament, they're in, they're judges, they are governors, they're police officers. You can't say what you want to say. You can't say the truth. You say the truth, there's going to be riots. It's happened a million times in France where the cars are burning. Unemployment's lower there. They're living off of welfare. A lot of them, that's enough for them. They'll rub it in your face. The extremism part of the spectrum, you don't see that with immigrants from Latin America, at least that much. Maybe narco-terrorism, but that's about all. So that's about money, not about, blowing yourself up or running people down with a vehicle or stabbing them to death because your country, because you can't find a gun, things like this. So what I'm trying to get at is we're lucky because we're away from a lot of that, but Israel isn't because they're losing the propaganda war, because a lot of these leaders have to pander to these people. It's a huge voting bloc, and all of them vote. All of them. And then the native borns only vote like 40 or 50%. I think it's getting better. But when you have a block of, so like look at like Minnesota, okay? For some reason, there's a huge population of Somalians. What's that lady's name? She's from Somalia originally, and she talks bad about Jews a couple of times. She's a far left extremist, and she's in Congress. State is Minnesota. Whatever the heck her name is. You guys, can you tell me who it is? I forget her name. Anyway, I should know it off the top, but I don't. And now there is going to be a governor or a mayor that is also of Minnesota. And all they do is talk about their home country, and how they can help them. Well, guys, guess what? Your country is America now, okay? So if you want to help them, get them assimilated, get them, not, they live in a community where it's like strictly them, and they do crazy shit. There was the biggest scheme that was run through during the COVID epidemic, and it's hundreds of millions of dollars. Said that they served over 100 million meals to people during the COVID epidemic. Guess how many they served? Oh yeah, that many. And do you know how much they made? Millions, hundreds of billions. I think it was in the billions, but definitely hundreds of millions of dollars, and it was all siphoned back into the pockets of these scumbags. And a lot of them were not given the sentences that they deserved. I mean, this is crazy. Jesus, I mean, what was the other one? So you do see the differences couldn't be more stark as far as like Muslim countries compared to how they treat women, how they treat homosexuality, little boys, arranged marriages, the honor killings, the hatred for the West. Why allow people that are coming from countries where you can't even vet them properly? You don't know their background or if they're extremism or not. Sometimes you're not even aware of family members. Then you have to bring not just them, but their families with them too. Like, for instance, America is such a wonderful country. There's Gazan children that have been hurt, and only like Israel or Western countries have the expertise to treat them. So we fly them in, but then we also fly them in, and we got to give them a visa to do so, and they fly in with their parents because they're children. Well, how many of them are going to go back to Gaza when their kids' treatment's done? Exactly zero, probably. Would you go back? I would not blame them. Look, it's a war-torn area. It's unsafe. But now we're going to give them the opportunity. We don't know. We don't know because look, even the kids themselves might be straight up Jew haters or extremism. All of them. Here's a great example: the hostages. When the hostages were brought back, when I say back, I mean to Gaza after being captured, seeing their friends raped and murdered. They were spit at by the population. Things were getting whipped at them, tomatoes, hard rocks. They were getting slapped, punched, spit, but they had to be protected by Hamas from the Palestinian people. That tells you what? What does it tell you? I'll tell you what it tells me. It tells me that the Palestinians are so in a bubble, and it's crazy. Like, they actually believe Hamas. So they're like a step down from Hamas, and then you got good people. But, like, you got to understand the education system is governed, the whole government is Hamas. So the Ministry of Health, no numbers coming out of there, Hamas. Where do you get taught? All Hamas rhetoric. It's not good. Propagandized from children. I mean, I've heard things like, and like these leftists. How can you say like queers for Palestine? Okay, if you went there, you would be killed probably. If not, you'd be hated. Okay, the Afro-Palestinians, just like African Americans, they were brought to the country somehow, some way, and the street on which they live on, because they're not assimilated. They're stuck together, the blacks, and the street is called El Bib, which means slave neighborhood. Can you believe that shit? Right on the street itself, the name of it. There's no denying it. Can this war be won? The ideology can't be taken away completely, but the war can be won. Well, Matt, what happened in Afghanistan, you say? Well, Matt, what about Iraq? Did you see the size of those countries? Did you see the size of Gaza? Okay, so you have an ocean where they can't escape. Egypt is pretty locked down. They're not letting any in. And the same thing with Israel, right? So where exactly can they go? Oh, and the country is the size of fucking... it's like 15 miles long or something. So yeah, that's why they have more miles of tunnel than the subway system in New York by a long shot. And so you got to do it methodically if you don't want massive amounts of casualties of your own soldiers and civilians. So you do it in a way that is going to limit both. And then you want to find all their weapons. You want to find their cash. You want to find the hostages, obviously, because we're trying to get them back. Finally, we're just going to go get them ourselves, And you wipe out as many of the Hamas leadership, and that's why they took out the other day in Qatar. Yeah, it's a foreign nation. It's a sovereign nation. It was probably against all international things, but at this point, they weren't getting anywhere with these guys, and they had deserved to die. They had done terrible things, and all of them were terrorists, except for the one poor official from Qatar who died. Okay, so now that we are going through Israel, so Israel and the military, I think 2 years. You have to serve, whether you're a man or a woman. In Israel, they make you serve. Okay, so it's compulsory. You have to. That's a wonderful thing, I think, because it keeps troops at the ready, and then every single citizen has some kind of training, right? Whether it be medical training, whether it be you learn stuff too, engineering, things like this that help you with your future, possibly. So maybe you stay as a full career. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at, guys, is Israel is fighting a war that is so hard to win, but they're doing it in the right way finally. And the results show, right? Hezbollah, basically the country that they're in right now, which is Lebanon. Did you realize the Lebanese government sides with Israel and says that they want Hezbollah, to stay out of this war? They did launch missiles at the beginning of the war. they've stayed out of it. They've government. They also want them to disarm within 1 year, or the army's going to come and disarm them themselves. So the Hezbollah situation seems to be Syria. Now there's a leader there, and the Druze were getting hurt and massacred, and Israel had to fire missiles in there to kill some of these people that were coming to massacre more of them. The Druze are a Muslim, but a different religiosity in there. Like it's just a little bit different. And the Druze are a Muslim ally of Israel, and they're right on the border. Syria. So we protect them, and the Syrian dictator is probably not going to be as bad as Assad, but there's still fighting going on. It's limited, but now we're kind of getting a little bit more stability there, and they're getting a second chance if they behave themselves. Right? You have to behave yourself in the international community. Now they were heavily sanctioned. Did I say the Assad? Yeah, so the Assad regime was heavily sanctioned, and so Russia came in. Russia has 2 naval bases there still. There are Americans in there. Israel has taken a little bit of land to kind of give them a buffer in the north, which is smart. So Trump's giving the Syrians an opportunity to show that they can, to prove themselves, so they can have a prosperous country again. Hopefully that occurs. I'm rooting for Syria. Now, so that is kind of becoming a more stable environment, and that's the neighbor of Israel. So then you got the Houthis launching missiles. Israeli ships have trouble even just going through the Red Sea or the Suez Canal because it's too damn dangerous. So a lot of their stuff just goes through the Mediterranean. But it's crazy. That should not happen because it's ruining the economy of the entire world. So that's why America got involved. We blew up their airport twice. We hit 2 ports, at least once by Israel, and then another time with Israel and America. During that war, it was costly. Did you know we lost 3 jets? One because on the way back it was a what the hell you call those things? The F-18 Super Hornets. All 3 were F-18 Super Hornets. Now I kid you not, it's something out of a goddamn SNL skit. So it was friendly fire that took down one. They thought it was an incoming drone. A second one came down, and it was at nighttime, and it was difficult. But what happened was when it landed on the aircraft carrier, the hook or the cable wire itself that stops it, makes it stop, makes the plane stop. The hook catches on the wire. That didn't work properly. It went right into the sea. The guy survived, got out of the ejected, but now this one's crazy. So the Houthis launch a missile at the aircraft carrier, and so they start to make these quick, evasive maneuvers. And in doing so, they took such a sharp corner that one rolled into like 10,000 feet of ocean, right down to the bottom. So that's 3 of those planes. They're, $40 million or $60 million planes. Then you had no less, and this is through the entire war. I think this goes back to the Biden administration also, but 15 Reaper drones. Can you, Q9 Reaper drones? It's like, what? Yeah, that's crazy. But at least none of them were manned with people inside them to where, they could be killed. So it was, and they're cheaper than the plane. So, yeah, that's cool. Now, I know some of you guys aren't subscribed. You should. This is my only the 3rd time ever doing, what do you call it? Online, live shit. So, just know that I'm new at this, but so it says how easy we forget history. It's true. What's your address? Fuck you. What's your address, asshole? Why would you ask me what my actual address is, bro? Do you think I'm going to give that to you? And I'm only in a place that's temporary anyway. I'm only going to be here for another couple of weeks. Um, yeah, so obviously you're a scumbag. All right. Ash hit. So you support systematic slaughter of innocent people? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. See, that's exactly what happened on October 7th. See, the difference is, Ash, is that if you had took the time to actually research this type of stuff, you would know that that's not what's going on, not one bit. Is it a tragedy? Yeah. Why don't you talk about Myanmar? Why don't you talk about what's going on in the Congo right now? It's way worse. How about in Yemen for the last decade where people actually starved to death? Thousands of them starved to death. Saudi Arabia was involved. Iran was involved. The U.S. got involved. Israel was involved. All right. But we don't talk about, the Houthis in Yemen and all the people that die there. How about, and I mentioned Myanmar, how about the Uyghurs in actual concentration camps, actual ones, okay? When it says, did you know above Auschwitz, the words in German said, work will set you free. It basically says the same goddamn thing as you're going into, and there's a million Uyghurs that are doing work for free and supposedly they're being re-educated and learning job skills. But these are Muslims, and they're not Han Chinese, and they're asked to stop. They're learning the language, so their custom, their history, and everything is being erased. Now, if anything, that's a genocide. That's an actual, Oh, by the way, forced sterilization. Yeah, many accounts of those. So, do we see any of that going on? No. As a matter of fact, since 1960, the population of Gaza has sixfold, six times over. Did you know at the beginning of the war till now, the population has not decreased? Fucking idiot. And not only that, Ashley, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. But, okay, so there's urban warfare, and then there's warfare that's not urban, say in the jungle or, open field battle, stuff like that, or in the mountains. What's the difference? Well, the difference is, you're in an area where there's a lot of people. Now, Israel does everything possible. By the way, they have the best civilian to combatant ratio going by the health ministry that Hamas runs. Even their numbers tell the same tale. It's about 2-1. 2-1. Do you know what it is for America? 6-1. Do you know what it is for other countries? 6-1. We drop leaflets. Did you know that there's cases where people have been shot in the legs, women shot in the legs, so they couldn't leave the area? Now, they set up safe zones. Now, they drop leaflets. They send alerts over the telephone. They even show up to the area, okay, on most occasions. And they still are losing the propaganda war because of people like you, Ash, that don't understand shit. You don't have the time or you don't care to look at the other side. See, I was a far left person myself. As I got older, I started to see the lies in it and the ridiculousness of it. And if you just say, oh, queers for Palestine, are you serious? Do you realize that, what happens? All of it's just such crap. It's like the trend. The only reason, international governments, because they're literally scared shitless of extremism. So that's why no one would burn Bibles. Look what happened to Charlie Hebdo, the cartoonist in France. How about the guy that tried to kill the Quran burning in America? Yeah, but they can do anything they want to us and make fun of us in any way. It's crazy. You can't even make fun of, and as I'll say it again. I lived with Muslims. I'm Jewish myself, 4 of them. They were from Afghanistan. And when they moved to Texas, because Texas, they told me, it was a lot like Jalalabad. which is like, because Afghanistan is a big country and it's hot there, but it's also in like the capital, Kabul, is in the mountainous regions where more of the people live. And that's where most of the economy is produced, which is very small amount anyway. So, I mean, just look at the Middle East, right? You say there's a genocide going on, right? In Israel proper, there are 20% Muslims, and it's a place where Muslims and Jews are treated pretty much equally, right? I think both of them. There's been cases of judges. There's been cases of parliament members. There are high rates of employment into the IDF. And Druze are considered Muslims too. They're the highest enrollment into the enlistment into the armed forces of Israel. Ah, man, I would like to talk a little bit about some of this stuff going on with the JWST, though, and astronomy, but I don't think this is the channel right now. I think you guys are more... What are you guys... So, can you sing some Nickelback? Remind me of the name of the song? You're a loser, Lul. Laugh out loud. Oh, thanks, Benjamin. I appreciate that. Topic, please. Yeah, hey, Sherlock Holmes. I love that name. That's kind of cool. Can you give me a topic and we'll run on it. Go ahead, sir. Topic. You still there, Sherlock? No, no. Wait, let me go up to the top. I think Safana Hana says hi. President Brush says I'm scared. Ha ha ha. Hi, girl. I pray Israel can be peaceful soon. Me too. Yo, hi. Hey, what's going on there? MDT, mod MDT. Assad, message retracted. Assad, what did you happen to write? Something pretty disgusting, I imagine. A rat just crawled across the thing behind you. Oh, you're absolutely true. If you're being serious, yeah. So I have chickens and goats, and if you guys want to take a quick peek at them, we can actually do that. Let me just switch it around. All right, so let's just see. Here's the chickens and the roosters. Here's one of the 4 goats, and there's your others. They're a half Nubian, half dwarf goats. But anyway, let's not get into this kind of crap. I don't feel like doing that right now. So I just want to talk further about the Middle East. Let's pivot. We're going to go to Ukraine and Russia. Does everyone agree that Russia's in a serious bad spot right now? Or does anyone think that they're actually okay right now as far as their economy? I think now that secondary sanctions have been levied on people that do buy the crude already at a reduced rate. Did you know that they're not selling crude right now, that they've had to stop? Why did they have to stop? The Long Neptune and the Flamingo are weapons produced by Ukraine. These weapons actually can hit 3,000 kilometers, so it can actually hit parts of Siberia, bases in Siberia. Now, that's amazing, and they don't have to go through the process of, getting permission from other governments to shoot into the country of Russia proper. Only, they would only get the okay to hit areas that were occupied by the Russians. But now that they have their own domestic drones as well, about 100 are produced every day, the kamikazes, and they slam into oil infrastructure mainly. That's all they've been going after, while the Russians have been wasting their missiles and wasting their drones. They just sent 800 plus drones and missiles the other night, which is the second biggest since the war started as amount that had been sent at one time and one night. And it most of them were shot down, but point being is that they can hit oil infrastructure, is what I was trying to get at. So they just switched from exporting to solely domestically, because right now there's not only rationing in some areas like the Crimean Peninsula and the Far East, But even in Moscow, I mean, prices everywhere are high, and some places are experiencing severe fuel shortages. So he had to switch from selling oil, and that's his war chest. What they make is about 40% from their